All right. So a company that I do want to talk about that I think has been doing really well is Core Scientific. Quickly, I want to apologize if you can hear my dog. She is requires a lot of attention that I can't give to her all the time, and she's very upset about that. So if you hear some noise in the background, that's my dog. But back to Core Scientific, their price per share has increased by almost 200% over the past year. Now, that's nothing to shake a stick at. This is a very large Bitcoin mining operation, and they're doing really well. So they're over $2.5 billion in size. They mine the most Bitcoin. They have the most hash powers of the publicly traded companies that I am aware of. And they're just doing exceedingly well under the management of their new CEO. So I'm very excited about that. And it has been a good position for me. I held through the bankruptcy that they went through, and I own the warrants as well as the common stock, as well as some options. And I can only continue to say good things. There is one giant looming, dark cloud above it, but I think with their new management, they'll continue to exceed and beat expectations. So this is just kind of a basic rundown of their stock, just basic stuff on Fidelity right here. You can see that they missed their earnings per share recently by a pretty large margin, but as I said, that's the looming cloud over this company, but I think that they've got some great things ahead of them. They operate in 6 different states with 8 different locations with a total available capacity of 195 megawatts. All of that is energized, 300,000 square feet under roofs, 20 total. Oh, and that's just in the Georgia location. Sorry, I thought that was all of them. That's just in Georgia because I believe that they have over 1,200 megawatts of power, and their hash share price keeps increasing over time. Like I said, good things. So I'm just going to kind of run through their quarterly earnings and their presentation, their slide deck, basically from about 3 weeks ago, and just kind of go over that. Forward-looking statements. They're continuing to grow is basically what this is. They're well positioned is basically what this is saying. They reduced their debt by $260 million. They continue to have insider purchases of, millions of shares, the big BlackRock, and I think Fidelity also has a position in this company as well. But they're just continuing to grow, and it's really great to see. So this is their accomplishments so far this year and where they intend to go next year and the rest of this year by completing 100 megawatts in their Pecos, Texas facility. They completed 72 megawatts in Denton, Texas, I've lived in Denton, Texas for many years. And they're going, like I said, $260 million in debt eliminated. And they will exercise their warrants once the stock price increases, and then just continuing to, expand and grow. I mean, this is just really great news. So you can see that right there, continuing to expand and grow. These are their locations that they've got. Looks like they actually have 9 or are working on their 9th. One of these is under construction, I believe, but across, 6 different states, 3 in Texas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Georgia, or that might be Atlanta. I'm sorry. Alabama. It is Georgia. Okay. Yeah. So couple in Georgia. They don't have this map quite all the way updated. This is, most of these places don't keep their websites up to date, which is fine. We can just kind of guess from there. This is kind of what I was saying about them being the largest Bitcoin miner by about 30%. They beat Riot, Marathon, Iron. I mean, you name it. They're way, way ahead of everybody else. So I can only continue to think that they'll continue to do good things. So far in 2024, signed on an aggregate of 382 megawatts of HPC hosting power, 6.7 billion in contracts over 12 years. Secured, and this is a big one. Block Inc. is coming out with their new 3 nanometer ASIC chip, and they're securing those, and we'll be using them, adding those miners and those chips to their capacity, which is great. Always love to see when public Bitcoin miners continue to add hash power. That's awesome to see. Let's see. They earned 1,680 Bitcoin in Q2. So as we went over with Argo blockchain, who only mines something like 180 or something like that Bitcoin, 48 in July. So, you average, 50 over 6 months, only 300 Bitcoin, whereas Core Scientific has 1,680 Bitcoin mined. You can't go wrong with that. A total of 19.4 exahash in mining power. And I don't think Argo had, barely a fraction of that. I think maybe they just had 20 exahash or something or less. No, sorry, I'm getting my numbers confused. It is less because Core Scientific clearly has a lot more. In Q2, they had 141 million in revenue. This is kind of that big cloud that I was talking about that's kind of hanging over them. They have a lot of these companies are operating at a loss right now because the larger companies are the ones that kind of sway the Bitcoin hash price. And so they're operating at a loss right now until the Bitcoin price increases. And I'll make another video about the Bitcoin price here in a minute. But, 46 million adjusted EBITDA. So I'm not an accountant, so I couldn't tell you exactly what that means, but they are reducing their debt, however, still operating at a nearly $1 billion loss, which is a huge loss and a large dark cloud this company has over them. But with the management of the new CEO, I think that he's well positioned to get rid of that debt or continue to operate successfully with it. They are the largest Bitcoin mining and hosting business, and they also are an AI play. So they're going to do something with AI. I'm not exactly sure what they'll be doing, but they do a lot of self-mining. They do a bit of hosting and this HPC thing. They have a lot of revenue. Their gross margins are huge, 30+% in the hosting and self-mining, and a little bit in the HPC. Their fleet consists of over 60% of these S19 Pros and S19J Pros. The most efficient ones are these S21s at 17.5 joules per terahash. These are, almost twice as inefficient, but that's where the mining machines were at the time when they acquired these. So they have 163,000 self-miners, an average of 24.1 joules per terahash. And they're continuing to procure more miners. I keep saying there's only good things I can say about this company because they're continuing to grow. They're continuing to add hash power and megawatt power to their infrastructure. And as I mentioned, they're acquiring these new 3 nanometer ASIC chips from Block and expect to get those by the end of 2024. The total debt, like I mentioned, decreased by $290 million in the first quarter, which is great to see. They're continuing to reduce their debt. Always love to see when companies get rid of their debt. The cost of their self-mining in the second quarter, their direct power cost is about $24,000 per Bitcoin. So, even at today's price of roughly under 59K. We're stuck at 58K. If you don't understand that meme, 58K forever. 58K is a magnet. We've been at 58K for 6 months, and we just continue to range trade. But they are profitable at this price, which is great to see. Here's a brief snapshot of their financials. Much larger numbers than Argo blockchain. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of disappointed in Argo. Was hoping that they would turn that ship around, but they don't seem to be doing so, unfortunately. But here we are. CapEx funding, just a quick snapshot on that. They're, continuing to grow. It's great to see. They still have contracts of 118 megawatts of infrastructure available for HPC hosting. They're continuing to execute on their pipeline of opportunities and diversify HPC hosting clients. Their 382 megawatt HPC application specific data centers infrastructure estimated delivery timeline. By the end of 2026, they'll have additionally 112 megawatts. Great to see. They've got 21.8 exahash in self-mining hash power, 16 megawatts in HPC, 800 in megawatt operational Bitcoin facility infrastructure, and their Bitcoin average power price is 4.2 to 4.4 cents per kilowatt. So their cost of the power that they require to mine all these machines is really very low. Your average, residential, kilowatt or cents per kilowatt hour is about 12 cents. So they're about a third of that, which is great to see. And in summary, they're just continuing to grow, strengthening earnings, balancing their business, expanding opportunities with institutional investors. They have a lot of institutional buyers recently. I kind of went through their 6K and 8K, and people just keep throwing money at this company, which is great to see. I'm not the only one that continues to think that this company will be a great position in the near future and now. And once the Bitcoin price starts to increase dramatically later, I think September will probably be a down month, but the rest of this year into October, November, December, and then early next year, I think we'll start to see the Bitcoin price start to appreciate dramatically. And Core Scientific is only positioned to do much better once that happens. So in summary, great things to say about Core Scientific. I think their CEO is doing a wonderful job with the replacement of the old CEO. And I think that they'll only continue to grow and be a great addition to the Bitcoin mining infrastructure. So quick rundown on Core Scientific. I hope you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.